Hello, Renee Flamont here, and Minnie. Our topic today is vital. It's very vital because people wonder what's it going to be like later. And they're nervous to leave. They don't want to make a move. We're going to get into it in a second, but I wanted to mention not just subscribe, like, and share. I really thank you for watching. And that to me is the good part. I think that's why I never mentioned subscribe, like, and share before December of this year, because the really important part is that to me is that you are watching, and that I appreciate so much. I mean, if you have a bunch of subs and no one's watching, that doesn't really do you any good. You're not getting any word out to anybody. So I'm really grateful. Now, if you are watching, hit the subscribe. Absolutely, that gets the word out faster. Algorithm wise. And we want the word out, right? So subscribe, like, and share. But I thank you for watching. Really. I mean, I'm very moved. And I love our audience. We are all going through this together. The topic of life afterwards, I'm telling you, you won't even believe how good it is. You won't even believe it. I'm going to try to explain it to you because I know people get nervous. They get nervous. So they remain, right? One of the many things that keeps us in it with them is the thought of being alone. It frightens some people. The thought of no longer being with them or both, that throws people. We fear the unknown. You might have been with your narcissist 20 years. What's it going to be like? Life afterwards, right? Mine was short-lived, but it's still in the heart. You're like, wait, I'm used to seeing him every day. You were getting that charge from them every day. You were getting, okay? So we stay repeatedly because we choose the devil we know. We choose the devil we know, right? And there could be a myriad of other reasons of your own that you stay, but some just can't picture the outlook of life after the narcissist. They're so entwined. And I know it's tough to even picture this, but it is so good. And at this time last year, heck, earlier this year, I couldn't picture it either. I have my daily planners here. I looked something up. I have shown you this before. This one is 2020. This one is this year's. So I went back and found the date. I don't remember which video I mentioned it, but I know I told you I confided in you when I was singing Gladys Knight in the kitchen. Neither one of us at the top of my lungs. Months after our breakup, but months into a good cycle of devaluing. That was February 20th. February 20th. 10 months ago. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't always go by like that. But I'm saying went from this year is chock full of whatever. This one dissipates. This is this year. I'm rounding out this year with the latter half of it is all my own time and everything. But February 20th. And here I sit. And life is good. And I didn't crumble. And everything gets brighter. Let me explain. And I know, like I said, it's tough to picture, and I couldn't picture it either. It is truly beyond anything I could ever explain to you in how good it is. Because you have to experience now in the peaceful nature of your life post-narcissist, you have to experience that yourself, punctuated against from what you came. The turmoil, you get here and you're just, I feel like Buddha. The Zen is, there's no turmoil. Okay? So I'm trying to give you a sense. It's truly beyond anything I could ever explain to you in how good it is. That's a really bad sentence. But I want to implore upon you how good it is. I didn't even think, and some of you were in it and married to them even, and had children and with them for years. I didn't even have that extra burden. I didn't think he was going to be a permanent part of my life. I think I knew that right away. I still got entangled. I still got encaptured. I really don't know how it was going to unfold. You're like involved with someone you know is bad for you, you know isn't going to go anywhere. I knew, I could see that. I knew his dysfunction was such that I wasn't going to choose him for life, but I was still in it. Stuck, kind of, in that cycle, that trauma bond. It was like a sinister maze I wanted to escape but couldn't find my way out of. And I couldn't understand why I couldn't find my way out of it, because the evidence in front of me was so glaring that it was bad for me. I wanted to squish him into nothingness when I look back on February 20th. Yet I kept playing, kept working, kept at it. Ugh, double ugh, triple. It kills me. It makes me sick. We all know how it makes you feel. Once you begin to shed away the layers of what they have us experience and you begin to see clearly, you can't unsee those things. That's the first glorious step to getting out. A sense of relief washes over you. And I don't tell people to leave. You might be teetering, and this might come in handy for you. Sense of relief washes over you, and then something miraculous happens. You start to become concerned about your own welfare again, your state of being, your mind, your heart. You worry about being undervalued, and you're not so willing to accept it anymore. The ill effect that they may have on you, your psyche, I was very concerned with that. And once I caught on and started to see things, I was very anxious to move through it, get to the other side, because I knew it was going to be better on this side. And then that part of me got really angry, being very concerned about my psyche. That made me angry, because we all work pretty hard, I think, on being good people. Or I'm not saying it hard, maybe it comes easy to you to be a good person. That's not what I mean. But I know I've done a lot of work on trying to get my mind right, my psyche right, my overall sense of well-being. And I was very angry and couldn't wait to escape something that was hurting that. And I used that to propel me forward away from him. His charm became pedestrian. His personality was elementary. Yeah, his entire being eventually was repulsive. And when I say elementary, I actually looked at him like a childhood, like a boy. The way he behaved was very unappealing. He became unattractive to me. And the point comes where you will crave your own company again. But alone. To be alone without them. Because you'll realize there's nothing even enjoyable about this. You'll start to enjoy alone more than coupled with them. When they leave the house, you're relieved. I'm going to be late at work. You're at the point that you're like, oh, thank God. You try to go to sleep before they even get home. You don't even want to see them. Well, that's what life is like on the other side. You don't see them. The relief is massive. The breath you take is huge. Your exhales are fabulous. That's how life is on the other side. And you know, that was a huge difference to me. I recognized that I dreaded his company and I looked forward to my own again. You'll get to where you can't unfeel the bad they inflict, and you just won't want it anymore. You'll realize, you know what, I had a great night last night when he was playing cards with his friends. I put music on, I read a book, I knitted, whatever you do, and you'll start to pay attention to that. That's how life would be if you didn't have them with you, except the difference is you wouldn't have a knot in your stomach waiting for them to get home. You'll just have a peaceful night, peaceful morning, peaceful next night, peaceful following morning. And they all run together. And you will get to where you will refuse to be mistreated. Because you treat yourself well on the nights that you're by yourself or the times that you're by yourself. And you realize how happy you can be. Start to pay attention to that. And you'll refuse to be mistreated. And by refuse, I mean refuse. I would be like, just get out. We weren't even together, but he would try to get out. I'm not in the mood for you right now. I don't like this person you're being. Go. You'll refuse. And yes, that could end up putting a screeching halt to your company with them, and they may end up, so be prepared, they could end up disappearing and dissipating slowly, the company that you keep with them, so you have to be prepared for that. Because they won't put up with that very long, you setting parameters on how they behave. We know that, right? But there's a shift wherein you'll start to look out for yourself instead of them. It can be subtle at first, but you find yourself with little things saying, no, I'm not going to do that. Or guess what? I'm not going to care about that. Or you know what, narcissist? I'm just plain tired. It's a shift. It creeps in. And before you know it, you're full on for yourself, and that takes over and ultimately protects you further from further harm as you begin to pull away. You'll genuinely feel like you don't want to be around them anymore, which you won't believe when that happens. It'll even feel weird, and you may not catch it at first, but you'll be so happy when it happens, and then it hits you. You are struck with this overwhelming need for justice. That happens. Once you start to separate mentally from them, maybe the physical separation happens next. Maybe you got one foot out the door and you're listening to this video, but then it hits you, I'll tell you that. You're struck with this overwhelming need for justice. Forget it. It's never going to happen. Unless you count the bad karma that they live with daily. But with you, for you, no. Teaching them something, are you going to gain that? Are you going to leave them with a lesson learned? No, nope, and no. Don't waste time waiting for anything like justice, asking questions, requiring an explanation, thinking you're going to get answers. Never, ever, never. Just enjoy the shift within you. Take it and move on. Once you get going, you will be laughing with friends and family and yourself and in life, because all that's ahead of you, again, you don't know what's ahead of you, but think of the last time you were by yourself when they weren't home. And think of how you felt when they left. I'm not saying if you left to meet new supply, you were heartbroken. I'm talking about they're going, and you're, I'm so happy to be by myself. That's life every day and night. How can that be anything but blissful? You'll be laughing, you'll be enjoying your life, and days will go by where you don't even think of them at all. And you never thought that was coming. And the thing is, though, I have to say this, and again, I never tell anyone to leave, it's your decision, but this is the thing. None of these feelings, none of this bliss, none of this relief, none of this stress-free kind of life can happen unless and until you choose to leave. You were to leave. I mean, if you're still with them, this is me alone now. This is what I experience. It's a blissful, what's waiting for you on this side is such a relief, and that is the reality of the situation. It's not, aren't you lonely? Do you, are you dating? And I get asked a lot of these questions. People go different routes. People go right back out and date again. People don't date. People do. But the point is, before you do any of that, you really should be able to sit by yourself and be in a happy spot. How do you learn to do that? Well, it takes some work. It takes some work. Starts out by doing all those things you love to do when you're by yourself. Who are you? What did you look? I don't know, Renee. It's been years. Well, what did you used to like to do? I used to play guitar. So pick it up. I used to write. I used to knit. I used to run. I used to cook. I used to paint. A lot of you forget about what activities you like that made you you. Read. Listen to music. I've made a lot of videos commenting on a lot of that stuff. But I'm telling you, the other side is such a relief. And I can't even tell you the difference between in it for most of this planner and having the latter half of this planner dissipate, and the difference in the first part of this year or the next part. You know what I mean? It's an astounding difference, and I'm telling you, this is better. There's no doubt in my mind, if you're a visual person like I am, there's no way on earth, if you keep one, that this end of this year is worse than this. This is the worst. I mean, this, you know what I mean? This is better. Because I've been by myself without that in my life to deal with, to face every day, to battle all the time, to be nervous about, wondering about, insecure about, feel unsafe with. It's all gone. It's completely gone past a certain point. Done. Gone. Just like that. All it took was to get them out of your life. I don't mean all it took, meaning it's easy, but when it came right down to it, that's what it took. Closing the book on it and moving forward. And all that comes is goodness. You don't have any of that rotten. It's completely done. Except the residual effects you have, which we're working on here together. I just wanted to mention it because some people get nervous, but I'm telling you what, you will love it. Love it.